You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Trick or treat, Lone Star Radio listeners. This is Dick, the general manager, taking this quick moment to remind you that Lone Star Community Radio is looking to fill some of our talk show slots along with some of our DJ slots. We have a new show airing on the 10th, Making Connections with Stacey Harris, which will air every second Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. Make sure to check it out along with our other programs on Lone Star Community Radio. For more information on Lone Star Community Radio, visit us online at irlonestar.com. And again, if you're interested in doing something with us, call the station 936-647-3776. Thanks for checking out this recording, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Caroline Cruz, and thank you for joining us today on Lone Star Community Radio. And you're joining us in the Extension Hour, our Friday afternoon radio show. I want to talk to you today during our show about our 4-H Youth Development Program here in Montgomery County. Some of the highlights that we have, because there's a couple of really cool things that we're doing right now. We are actually in the middle of celebrating National 4-H Week. So there's a couple of things that I'll be able to talk with you today. Hope everybody's doing well, having a good Friday, and we've got some cool things to share with you. I also am joined by a 4-H volunteer. Her name is Lara Pena, and so we'll be talking with you today about some things about the 4-H Youth Program. Just so you know, like I mentioned, we are getting ready for National 4-H Week, and National 4-H Week is October 1st through 7th, so we're just kind of moving into that week. The really neat thing is this is the 75th year to celebrate National 4-H Week. And just like the name says, across the nation, our 4-H members will be celebrating National 4-H Week. Their local programs and just kind of overall the impact that 4-H has in their lives with their clubs and their families.
Are they doing anything special for it? I mean, 75 years is a long time.
I know, 75 years, I can't even, 4-H has been around longer than that, but it's just the 75th anniversary of an organized nationwide celebration. What some of the things that people do across the country, and I'll tell you too what we're doing specifically in Texas and also here in Montgomery County. This is the week that they have the opportunity to kind of get in front of the public, in front of people that may not know about the program, and get in front of the local supporters, the stakeholders that actually help to support the 4-H program. What we got to do here in Montgomery County, which is always a neat experience for our 4-H members, is we actually got to go to our county commissioners' court, which were supported by county commissioners and the judge, and present them with a proclamation for National 4-H Week. The neat thing is that 4-H members actually get to come and do that. So Miss Pena's daughter actually is our Montgomery County 4-H Council president, or our chairman for the year. Her name is Gabby. And so part of her role, Gabby actually got to read and present the proclamation at Commissioner's Court. So that's always really neat for a 4-H member to get to have that experience.
That's so cool.
It is. It's, for some it may be nerve-wracking. For Gabby, she read through it. She got all the information out and did such a great job. We also had some 4-H members and their parents come with us as well to help present this to the court. And they actually get to put together some appreciation baskets to give to the commissioners and to the county judge. Like I said, they do help support the county 4-H program. And we also get to share highlights with them, things that have happened during the year, recognitions, and I have some of those to share with you. Just some really cool things that 4-Hers have been doing, and they get to tell commissioners about what they've been doing locally.
And all the positive effects to go with it, I'm sure.
Most definitely. It's just such a neat, for myself, as the agent, it's a big thing to do during the year, but to me probably the best part of it is letting the youth that are directly, I mean, they are 4-H. So letting them to be a part of it, have a really active role, getting that leadership, understanding what, even just what your county government is like, is a whole learning process in itself. So you were able to be there at Commissioner's Court. Lara, how did that go? How did you, seeing it on the side of a parent?
Well, we have done Commissioner's Court now for 4 years, and Gabby has always been a part of the presentation of the gift baskets. The last 3 years, we have personally made gifts to go in there. So it kind of gives us a chance as a family to talk about why we want to appreciate them and how they work with us hand in hand to make sure that there are many opportunities for the kids to grow personally. And this gives us an opportunity also as parents to talk with them about the civic side of life and how they should be involved. And it gives them that little small opportunity as a child to be involved in that. It just opens the door for more conversation with your kids and teaches them how to respect the elected officials and, everybody in the government, really. And from a parent's perspective, it's been fun to watch her grow. And a lot of those kids we've watched grow up too. This is her last year, but I can remember a lot of those kids when they were just little itty bitty things could barely hold that basket. Now they tower over the others. But it's really cool to watch the commissioners as well because they understand what 4-H is doing with kids and how it's a perfect opportunity for parents to be very involved in some of the things that their children are doing. And it's funny after you start reading off all the accomplishments of our county and how well we have done both locally in local competitions and some of the cooking things. It's fun to watch the commissioners all looking at each other like, wow, when they hear about how Montgomery County measures up, across the state, and then to hear that even some of them have made it to the national level in competitions and we won, they just go like, wow. And then, of course, they always make the same funny comment about, I feel like an underachiever after you've mentioned all that. But it's really neat to see the support from our elected officials for this program because it really is. It's been a phenomenal program for our family as well.
And like you said, it's almost like a real life opportunity because you may learn about these things through your studies, through school. You learn about government. Actually being able to have the opportunity to real life go in and see that whole process, see what it's like, and to take a more active role to be informed of what's going on in your county. You get to see all the county departments, just kind of from every aspect. So that real life, real world opportunity is kind of a unique thing for them to be able to do. So I think some of them walk out there with, their eyes are just wide because they didn't realize we can only explain to them what it's like, but until they actually get that chance to go in and do that, they get to come back with a whole new perspective of, okay, that's kind of how that goes. This is they get to look at the agenda and see what's coming up. So it's a real neat opportunity for them. And I think after every year, they're just kind of like you said, the commissioners and some of even the members don't maybe not realize everything that the whole county is doing county-wide. So they kind of get that moment of, wow, we've been pretty busy. We've been out there active doing things. So that's always, from my side, neat to be able to see that kind of light bulb moment with them and that they get to hear their accomplishments too in front of a group. And to tell you a little bit more about why we celebrate National 4-H Week, and when we think about it, there's over 6 million young people across the country that are 4-H members. That's a lot of youth. That's a lot. And 4-H actually is the largest youth organization in the country. And not even just that, but it has an international presence as well. There's over 50 countries across the world that have 4-H in their countries. So when you just think about that, that's a lot of young people, families, volunteers. Here in our county, we have over 1,000 4-H members. And we're one of the, if not the most, one of the largest county programs. And I'd probably say we would maybe be in the top 3 in the state of Texas as far as membership goes. So we have a really large growing program, we have 23 different 4-H clubs here in Montgomery County. So there's something for everyone in just about every part of the county as well. So we have a lot of really active clubs. So just to kind of let you know some of those things. Another part of National 4-H Week that actually started in Texas is a project called One Day 4-H. And what that is, the Sunday that wraps up National 4-H Week has been set aside as One Day 4-H. And what that is, it's a day for 4-H members across the state of Texas, no matter their club, their county, where they live, get to plan and organize some sort of a community service project that is special to their county. So it's a neat this kind of sense of camaraderie that you know that during that day, majority of 4-Hers across the state are all doing some sort of a service project. So you kind of get that power in numbers, just feeling that it's a bigger sense than just yourself, that people all across the state are doing a one-day 4-H service project. One of the clubs that your family's actively involved in is one of our shooting clubs that focuses on the shooting sports project. What things are they planning to do for that service project?
Well, this is what I love about 4-H is it really instills in the kids a heart for service, to just give back to your community and make a difference, and it helps them to take the focus off themselves and put it on others. Well, One Day 4-H fosters that by giving the kids multiple opportunities, and it's fun because we let the kids come up with the ideas, and then we look at how can we get some outside sponsorships to make this an even bigger and better project and have a greater impact. And the club that you're referring to, our Shotgun Club, we have decided this year that we would like to personally go out and put some of these strong young men to work helping some of the flood victims. So we have found a family, and we are working with them right now, and they've suffered greatly. And it's an elderly man and his wife, and they're in their 70s, and some of the work he just is physically not able to do it. And so it was kind of neat because when I got to approach him and ask him if he would be open to letting me bring some strong young teenage boys out there to help him with some of the work that needed to be done, I mean, he literally broke down crying. And, he said, I'm familiar with 4-H. That's an incredible program. And yes, I would absolutely love the help. And so, again, it's just part of the pledge for 4-H is hands to larger service. And One Day 4-H helps our young people understand that this is your moment to really shine, because everybody's going to be talking about 4-H. Because, like you said, we have 23 clubs in our county. And so they're going to be present everywhere with their 4-H shirts, working and serving others. And it's not about them. It's about others. And we make it as fun as we can, and we have a good time. But in the end, the goal is to have something accomplished that benefits somebody in need. And some of the other things that our clubs have done in the past, not specifically the shooting one, we've collected over 2 tons of pet food for the animal shelter. We've cleaned out the park, picked up all the trash, raked up all the leaves, planted some new azalea bushes, and we've kind of adopted a park. And that's another thing is these projects give the kids some ownership, and they take responsibility, and they have to work together to come up with a plan, and then they have to divide and conquer to get all the supplies, and then we got to show up ready to work. And there's been times where it has been pouring down rain, and they all wanted to stay. So it's really neat to watch the kids just serve with joy, really.
And like what you mentioned, it's a pride of ownership. It's a sense of community. So they're taking stake in their local community and kind of instilling that sense of pride too, to take care of our community and taking care of others. It's also, we talk about community service and let's do a project, but it's so much more than just that. And for them to take it from the ground up, okay, let's get our ideas together. Who can we get to help with this? Who is going to benefit from this? How are we going to keep up with it over the years? Longevity. and then them actually getting to be a part of it and taking it from start to completion. It's really, even as adults, being a part of that, really seeing them kind of come to life. And once they get it, that's the neat part. Once they get that what they're doing is really helping somebody, not just, I'm going to, raise money, or I'm going to do this, and then, give in a certain way. They're actually getting to kind of put their eyes and even their hands on this actual project and how it's going to help somebody. It's neat to kind of witness that and see it happen. And we tell them we do this because it makes us feel good, but we do it because we're here to take care of other people too. When we fall on bad luck or hard times, you kind of have that sense that someone else will step up and help us. So let's step up and help other people too. So that's, we could talk all day long about different
Really
community
could.
service projects and how those really impact people in the community. But like you said, they get so much out of it too.
Well, and one question I have is, so the Shotgun Club is doing that for the elderly man and his wife. Is each group and organization doing their own sort of activity or project?
So in our county, some counties come together and do one big county project. In our case, where we have 23 clubs, and just the way how our county is populated and widespread, they are really invested to not just county, but in their local community. So they take the opportunity to do something for their closer knit local community.
Okay.
And so, yes, they'll be doing all different kinds of service projects that day. Some counties do a big thing, but just the way how we have so many clubs, it makes sense for them to kind of take leadership and really get involved, because we want the youth and the families in that club to develop it themselves. So good question, but yes, we have so many that are going to be ramped up
I'm
to
a
go.
newbie when it comes to 4-H, so I have to ask obvious questions.
course.
Well, by the time we're done with this, you'll be ready to sign your kids up.
Or think about it in the future.
That sounds better.
Yeah, by that time you already know, so much. It'll be that much easier for you. Definitely. Do we need to take a short break? All right, well, we'll be back in just a few minutes on the Extension Hour.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Hispanic Chamber Connections with Dr. Carlos Sanchez, President of the Woodlands Conroe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, featuring event announcements, member highlights, and more. Tuesdays at 1 p.m., broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question, comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station on irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back to the Extension Hour on Lone Star Community Radio. My name is Caroline Cruz, and I'm one of your county extension agents here in Montgomery County and with the 4-H Youth Program. And if you ever have any questions about 4-H, maybe how you can get involved, you can always give us a call at your county extension office, and that number is 936-539-7823, extension 3. If you ever want to come and drop by, our address is 9020 Airport Road in Conroe, 77303. We're actually located directly across the street, across Airport Road from the Lone Star Convention Center, right next to the airport, and just kind of across the way from the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. And I'm joined here today with Lara Pena, and Miss Pena is a 4-H volunteer here in Montgomery County. She's a 4-H parent, so we are talking with you today about the 4-H program. We're kicking off National 4-H Week, which is October 1st through the 7th. We talked a little bit about presenting some of the accomplishments of our young people in 4-H, and I wanted to share a few of those with you just to kind of bring it to life. So our 4-H members are from 3rd grade all the way through high school, so that's a pretty wide age range of young people. And during the year, they are members of their club. They participate in community and county programs, and some of them also decide to work on different projects. And a piece of that may be entering a contest related to the project or the activities that they're working on. So something that our 4-Hers work towards is called District 4-H Roundup. And what that is, it's basically a weekend where young people can come together, compete in almost any type of contest that 4-H has to offer. And that's actually being held in Montgomery County. It's at Lone Star College. And this is made up of 18 counties in the southeast part of Texas. So young people from all those 18 counties get to come together. So I'm going to share with you a couple of highlights that our 4-H members achieved this year. We had 116 4-Hers from Montgomery County that participated. There's a really cool contest. You may have heard me talk about this before. It's called the Food Challenge, and it's like if you've ever seen Chopped or Iron Chef or any of those cooking competitions on Food Network and on those different channels, that's kind of what it is, but it's for kids. It's really cool. Teams of 3 to 5 young people get together. It's one of my favorite contests to watch and be a part of. We had 10 teams from Montgomery County, so we had 42 4-Hers that went and did the food challenge. We had 24 members that competed in a robotics competition. You've heard some of them on the show before talk about that. It's a really cool contest. Out of all of these people, we had 21 that qualified for the state roundup contest that happened just during this summer. We also had some teams that participate in other livestock shows, but they're doing these type of contests. Like we had 4 teams that went to Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo that competed in the food challenge contest at the rodeo. We had a first and a second place team, and then in the preliminaries, and then we had one team that won 3rd place overall. So that was pretty neat. They got to go to Houston, go to the livestock show, got their banner. It's a lot of fun. I got to judge part of it too. So it's just always neat seeing them come in and how creative that they can get.
That's worth the admission in itself.
Right? Oh my goodness. It's just so cool. You get to see kids from all over the area come together, and it's a different atmosphere going to a livestock show to do that. So it's neat because also the public gets to watch. So anyone can come up and watch them get together and cook. So it's pretty cool. We had quite a few that went to the state contests. So that's just a few brief highlights of things we've had. One other kind of step up to leadership, we have Texas 4-H has different ambassador programs for high school age students. And one in particular, it's called the Texas 4-H Water Ambassador. And those people that are part of that program get to learn all about water in the state of Texas. Water is a commodity, a natural resource, and why it's one of our most precious commodities that we have. They get to learn about the legal aspect as well. And we actually had our Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District worked with me on that, and we actually were able to get one of our 4-H members their complete fee for going to it was about 10 days worth of training they went to, and our Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District actually paid for all of his registration. So that was really neat. Several $100s that they put into this young man, and so over the year he will be presenting what he learned at that ambassador training. And Miss Pena, who is here with me today, her daughter actually is also now an ambassador in one of those programs as well. Do you want to tell them about that briefly?
Absolutely. Gabby is one of the shooting sports ambassadors, and so she will have the honor of traveling the state and even here locally, just sharing with people the different shooting sports that are available for 4-H members and how the shooting sports have helped her personally grow in both perseverance and determination, but in focus and concentration. It's opened some incredible doors for her, and she's excited to share with anybody who is willing to listen just how wonderful the shooting sports programs are, all of the different shooting sports. It's not just shooting. There's archery and air rifle and muzzle loading. I mean, there's quite a bit available to kids of all ages and interests.
What exactly does she do?
She will just share with them all the different disciplines.
Okay.
How to get started in them. But she really enjoys talking about how the shooting sports have opened doors of opportunity for her. I mean, it honestly has provided her with, the foot into the door to intern for representatives and senators and because it's kind of like she wants to go into political science. So it was either golf or shooting. I mean, if you're going to live in Texas, you either need to learn how to swing a club or hit a target. And so she's not athletic. And so we chose shooting sports. Turns out she's pretty darn good. But
I mean, that's an athleticism all on its own.
It honestly is.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to tease her about missing some of the targets. And she said, well, here, why don't you shoot 100 targets? And so we did. And I couldn't even lift my arm by the end of the day. So,
and I think probably one of the good things about this, and maybe you can expand on it, is the gun safety that they teach alongside of this, and maybe informing the youth of not just proper use, but just the responsibility of owning a gun as well.
Absolutely. It's mandatory. As a matter of fact, you're not even allowed to step foot onto a range until you've gone through the mandatory training that 4-H is all about safety first. And so, my hat's off to the coaches because you can imagine, having young people out on a firing range, and they are so professional and so good with the kids. As a parent, it's just heartwarming to see how much they really do care about the kids and making sure that they have a good time, but it's safety first.
Definitely. Tell us a little bit about your family's journey into 4-H, what it's done for you, for your daughter, for you as a family, and for you as a volunteer.
Well, how much time do I have? No, I'm just kidding.
Just a couple minutes.
We heard about 4-H when we moved to Conroe. And it was basically the man that we bought our home from shared it with us. And it really sounded exciting. So as a mom, I immediately started doing some internet searching and finding out about all the programs that were available. And we just knew that no matter what happened our first year, we were going to just dive right in, explore everything that we could, do, whether it was time or money. We were going to try it all, just to see what stuck. Where they say throw enough spaghetti out there and something will stick to the wall. And so we did that our first year. We just dove right in and had a blast. We made some new friends, and being new to the community, that was very important, to meet other families. And it really helped us a lot to find out about what her personal interests were, because she was in that transition, that middle school age when we heard about it. And that's already a tough age. So it was really neat for her to find other young people with the same kind of interest. But what has been very exciting is watching her step up and become a young leader. And she's had multiple years of public speaking experience, and it's been fun to watch her use that in 4-H in the different leadership roles that are available to kids. You only have to be 8 years old in the third grade to be in 4-H. And we really do give even kids that age an opportunity to step into even a small role in leadership. But for her, I want to say she was 12 years old when we joined 4-H. And that was such an awkward age anyways, but it just gave her so many opportunities to shine. And of course, the parents that are involved, they're so encouraging. We're always encouraging each other's kids and trying to bring out the best in them. And that takes, a a lot of people pulling together to make the program a success. And we were lucky to get connected with a very small 4-H group out near our house. We call it the Little Club with Big Personality. We're not a project-specific club. Like there's the Shotgun Club, there's a Dog Club, Horse Club, and so on. Our club is just a well-rounded, and most of them are, they're all, we have parents who take on leadership roles in specific projects that their kids are doing. And that's been wonderful because, it doesn't really matter what your child is doing in or outside of 4-H. Their success is really dependent on parent involvement. And I love 4-H because it becomes a partner for me as a mom in helping to grow this independent, educated young lady who knows where she fits in her community. And it gives her opportunities to jump in and shine. And when they make mistakes, no big deal. We get up, we go with it, and we learn. And so over the last 5 years, this will be her 6th year and final year, sadly. This has been her year that all of the experience of the last 5 years is now giving her the moment to shine and really pour into other people, which is why she loves the ambassador program, which is why she loves serving on the state council, on the district council, and here as chairman in our county. She says, Mom, I want my last year in 4-H to be, I want to go out with a bang. I want to help as many families have the awesome experience that we had. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so how do you say no to that?
Right.
Her experience with 4-H has been so awesome that she wants to make sure that other kids, too, can say that same thing when they hit their senior year.
Definitely. And having kind of that open-minded and kind of well-rounded view of you could go from A to Z and find tons of different things that you can do and plug into your 4-H career. Something that we've been talking about is service and giving back and kind of having that heart for service, which is a big part that we try to instill in our 4-H members. And I know, of course, here recently, events that have happened with Hurricane Harvey and all of the other disasters we've seen happen across our country, things happening in Puerto Rico, just, all of these things that we've kind of been looking at or being a part of over this past month or so. Tell us a little bit about what you've come to find in your own personal efforts towards disaster recovery and some of the things that you can share with others that may not know that are still happening today.
Oh, goodness. I'd be happy to share. As a matter of fact, right before I came here, I was out in I would say, an underserved and neglected area east of us. It's not even in our county, but, when you see people hurting, you can't help but help. It's hard not to want to help them. Well, and I will be honest with you and tell you that 5 years ago, prior to 4-H, I would help, occasionally. And, if there was a canned food drive, I'd help out there and do things through our local church. But it wasn't until we joined 4-H and really began to seek out opportunities for the kids that heart of service in my own life and myself wasn't really fully developed. I'll just be honest with you. And now I find that we so love doing things like that because just not only does it set a good example for our kids, but even as adults, we still want to love and care for others, right, in our community. So when this hurricane happened, for everybody, all of us who were going through it, and I know our listeners here locally will be, they'll totally understand where I'm coming from. It was just making sure that your next door neighbor was cared for, or maybe a friend of yours down the street. And then after those bases were covered, then we would reach out. Okay, what else is going on in our community? Who else here in the city of Conroe and on the outskirts needs help? Okay, well, then it began countywide. And, we've been serving a lot of people in a lot of places. Well, as our net, shall we say, was cast further east, we began to realize that the flooding and the damage out there was really severe. And in some of the communities and little pockets that we have found, the income level dropped, and so do some of the resources out there. And so we've been able, through a local organization, plug in and be able to serve in areas that don't necessarily fall within our county. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, but Here just recently, I was out in the Livingston area near the Trinity River, and the devastation out there is mind-boggling. Just
Yeah, to think that people still can't get to their homes, they don't know what's left. They really can't even say to this day what is still standing at their home, at their neighbors, at their families, their friends. What about the school? You know, when you think about your community and how, the school is the hub of your local community. Your kids go there, even if you don't have kids that go there, it's still such a staple.
Well, and then like the athletic programs that go along with it too, and especially this time of year, fall with football. I mean, that's Texas, backbone, right? And to see communities and programs not be able to celebrate what they've celebrated for hundreds of years on Friday Night Lights, it's hard. And seeing those first games back and how those communities react to it, it's great, and it shows the true passion that we have as Texans and as just community-driven people.
Yeah, most definitely.
And to make a full circle back to 4-H, it's through some of the connections we've made through sponsors of the different programs that 4-H has for kids, we've been able to make those connections outside of 4-H to come to those same business leaders and say, I could really use your help. We've got a small community out there that's really struggling. Could you help us? Could you help us get, maybe a few pallets of water, or can you help us get some supplies out there to them? And so, just to go full circle again with our 4-H lives and our 4-H experience and serving others, this isn't even through 4-H that we're doing these efforts, but it's the connections that we've built with these people and the trust that they have in these 4-H kids and the leaders they see coming out of the 4-H program, that there has never been a time that we haven't asked some of our local business owners to partner with us that they've said no, never. They really love the kids and what we're doing, and they see that we're giving back, and they're happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's a true testament, and knowing that they're also empowering young people to step up. They may not have all the skill or ability, but to empower them and let them know, yes, I'm going to help you out with this. And it's that sense of trust and community. So it's just, that's another part. We're celebrating National 4-H Week, and it goes back to the kids, to the county, to the parents, to great volunteers like Miss Lara Pena here today. And we hope if you ever are interested that you give us a call at your county extension office. Again, that's 936-539-7823, extension 3. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday on Lone Star Community Radio. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next time.
Lone Star Community.
Attention movie lovers, The Ticket Stub is a new radio show servicing Montgomery County that is meant for you. The Ticket Stub is available live every Thursday at noon on FM 104.5 and 106.1, as well as anytime on irlonestar.com. Connor and Dick will let you know what's coming out in the theater, what is worth streaming, and what's going on in the world of film. The Ticket Stub, your home for movie talk.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. Don't miss Lone Star Community Radio on TV and YouTube. Our talk show and music shows are featured on Our City TV, Suddenlink Channel 12, and have their own YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with posted shows and comment on them below the video.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available in Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
All right, we're back on the Extension Hour. My name's Caroline Cruz, and I'm joined here today in studio with Miss Lara Pena. She is a Montgomery County 4-H volunteer, a parent, and a really active part of our program. We were just talking a little bit about some of the efforts that she and her family and other members of the community have been involved in disaster recovery and relief efforts here around this part, not just in our county, but to our neighbors further east and to other locations where they really do need some help. If you are ever looking for information about disaster preparedness, we've got a really great website with a lot of useful, user-friendly information in that website. It's texashelp.tamu, as in Texas A&M University, .edu. So that's texashelp.tamu.edu. And usually before we start our 4-H year, which pretty much starts in August or September every year, along with the school year, we give this information out to our clubs, and we happen to include this in our newsletters, and it's a disaster supply kit. It also talks about a pet emergency kit. And we've seen with so many families that have been displaced, but also their pets have been displaced and they may not quite yet be reunited, but we have a full checklist to keep on hand if you do have pets. And then also in this kind of stage of cleanup, there's also a lot of really good resources on that website for proper cleanup, helping you to have the tools to even find a reputable contractor if you have to do work in your home or your business, or if you're helping a friend, or just out there trying to help in general. There's some really great information on there. And we also just recently received these really cool books in our office. It's called the Texas Homeowner's Handbook to Prepare for Coastal Natural Hazards. It's a full color booklet, and some of the things that are in here, really good, useful information. So coastal natural hazards, that includes hurricane hazards, and this is specifically for Texas and for the location where we live. Hurricane hazards in Texas, storm surge, rainfall, tornado hazards that can happen with a natural disaster, flood hazards, the different type of floodings that can affect us, a whole section over what we just talked about, your emergency supply kit for your home, for your family, for your pets, what to do before, during, and after a natural disaster. There's a whole big section also on protecting your property, your roofing, how to keep water out, your window coverings. There's the trees. That's another big thing, your trees, concrete structures that you may have at your home. There's a whole section on protecting your property with insurance. It goes over who's eligible for different types of insurance, what you need to do, how to protect yourself. There's also FEMA publications in here. It's just a really neat, it's a huge book, and we do have copies of these at the Extension office. If this is something that you need, we can definitely help get those to you. Some other things that we can talk about really quickly. We've been talking a lot about service, because 4-H really celebrates and empowers young people to be of service to their communities. And one of our 4-H members, she's a high school student, and she is also an officer on our county 4-H council. One of her big projects she likes to focus on is Project Linus. And if you're, you may be familiar with it, it's a blanket drive. And what she is doing is she's accepting donations of blankets, and they can be taken to the county extension office. She's also willing, if you have a big, donation, maybe a group wants to put something together, she'll even work with you on maybe going and picking that up from you if it's more convenient for you. So if you're interested in helping that, there's a couple of different criteria for that. Mainly blankets for children, for infants, and all the way through teens. So this is for young people, something that would be friendly to a child or to even a teenager. She talks about the size that it needs. So if you want to get involved with that or find more information, you can give us a call at the County Extension Office. It's 936-539-7823, extension 3. And so we're taking those donations now, and she'll be taking those over the next month or so. So if anybody's interested, it's called Project Linus. And again, I'm joined here today with Lara Pena. She is a 4-H parent here in our county. We've been talking about service and getting out there to help. If you could tell us too a little bit about, we've talked a little bit about Gabby, who is your daughter. She's a 4-H member here in Montgomery County. We talked about her role as a 4-H ambassador. She's also getting to serve this year. She was elected this summer at our district 4-H council, to our district council. She also is getting the opportunity because of that to serve on state 4-H council. So that is just a really great accomplishment in and of itself to be able to be on state council, because not everyone is going to be on state council. Tell us a little bit about what that journey has been like for you, and what you can kind of see over this year as she serves on that. How is that going to impact her? What is she excited about for 4-H council?
I would have to say one of the things that is exciting to Gabby, first of all, is that over the years, remember I was saying this is our 6th year, and during that time it has really helped her blossom into a leader. And that leadership, goes beyond 4-H too. I mean, she serves in a leadership position elsewhere as well. But because of all the many opportunities for her, even getting back to the commissioner court that you spoke to earlier, when we first came to that, I can remember her saying on our ride home, one of these days I'm going to be that person speaking. And, as a mom, you can do anything you want. Absolutely. And, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But, what's been great is watching her develop. Every year she has served in at least one officer position somewhere in the county. And so this year we knew that if she was going to make it to state council, this was going to have to be it, because it was her last year. Mm-hmm. And so there was a lot of preparation, a lot of time that we had to spend planning different things that would make her a good candidate. I mean, you can't just run for office and expect to get that. I mean, there's a lot of people that run for these offices, so you really have to stand out. So that meant developing a 4-H career that would justify her peers voting for her. So when she made it onto the district council, there was a campaign process that took place, and so she had to be very thoughtful about her campaign slogan, and it's very competitive. I mean, everybody wants those positions. There's a lot of kids running for just a few positions. And so she came up with a campaign slogan, and, she really tried to promote herself and talk about all the different things that 4-H has done for her. And so she did end up winning that election, and consequently became also a Texas council member. Now, I want to say there's 32 or 33 members statewide. So to be a council member it's a big deal. I mean, Texas is a large state. Texas is a large state, and to be one of those 32, I think it is, members representing 4-H across the state, you got to have a plan. And so she has already had some training, and that was very intense, and she loved every minute of it. She did not win one of the officer positions on the council, which thank goodness she didn't, because she's already doing so much. But they're working hard to develop programs for kids at some of the leadership training. And it's been fun to watch her work with these other incredible leaders to develop these programs and discuss what they were going to do.
we're very proud of her for that. That's a big commitment. And, you know, like you mentioned, you're going to be going into her 6th year. You know, there's some families that they started when they were 8 years old. And, you know, she came in and you came in and fully supported her and kind of that, we don't know yet what we're going to do, but we won't know until we try. Mm-hmm. So that's just, you know, another real testament to the 4-H program, to you as a family. And that's just kind of where we're at.
She's loving it. This is her year. She's excited to help other kids jump in and have the best experience possible. And so she's excited to present that. We have plans. We've had other club managers approach her and ask her if she would please come and speak to the young people there and maybe help them understand that there's so much. You don't have to do it all, but try, experience, taste a little bit of everything. And then you can find out what you want to focus on later. But just try it. Just have fun. Jump in and go in there thinking, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm going to have some fun and have some great experiences. And so she is, right now she's actually working on her presentation. We've got a couple of clubs this month that we're going to be presenting to. So she's pretty excited to do that, actually.
Very awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us today on the Extension Hour on Lone Star Community Radio. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll check with you next time.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available in Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question, comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station on irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show is recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.